Today we talk about the Holy Catholic Church. And I want to begin with this window in our sanctuary. At the bottom is a ship, and the word in Greek, oikumene. It means household. But it has also come to mean the church taken as a whole. Like a household is made up of a group of people, but it's still one household. So the church, even though it is made up of many different groups, is one church. And from time to time, we have had our arguments. We've had our fights, occasionally, sad to say, may God forgive us, even our wars. But that hasn't meant that the church, in its deepest being, has not remained one with each other, by having faith in the God who made us, who redeems us, and who sustains us. And when we are at our best, we recognize that we all have a different role in this ecumenical, this worldwide household. And this window celebrates that. There are 3 scenes in it. I'm going to jump to the top. And I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit. There you see Lausanne, a town in Switzerland, 1927, often held to be the start of what we call the ecumenical movement. At the upper right, you see a triangle, the Trinity, shining down on a series of shields with crosses representing the different branches, many of the different branches of the church, and people drawn from all different traditions of it. Now, it being 1927, all the ones shown here are men and mostly European. But the point is that we come from many backgrounds, and we have different ways of confessing our faith. But it all flows from that one triangle, the Trinity up at the top. Let me show you, I should say this commemorates the founding of what was called the Faith and Order Council. Later on, it became the World Council of Churches. I'm going to jump to another panel. Amsterdam, 1948. The World Council of Churches, 21 years later, meeting having come through the Great Depression and the Second World War. And in this picture, you can see people, again, mostly European, all male, but all of them together, which was the big thing. Laborers together in God's vineyard. There is a middle panel. This is more particular. Unification, 1939, it says. And that refers to 3 branches of Methodism in the United States that over time had split apart. The Methodist Protestants, as opposed to what we used to call ourselves Methodist Episcopal, meaning that we are organized using bishops. There was one group that in the 19th century really opposed that, and they became the Methodist Protestant Church. And then the other 2, the Methodist Episcopal Church that split in 1844, North and South, over the issue of slavery. By 1939, they'd found a way to come together and work together again. And they formed what was then called the Methodist Church. Years later, about 29 years later, another branch of Methodism that had sprung up in North America, but that spoke mostly German, had come mostly to speak English again. And, well, I shouldn't say again, but had come mostly to speak English. And the Evangelical United Brethren joined with the group that these three are shown forming here to form the United Methodist Church. That's why we have the word united. All of these windows deal with the church splitting and coming together again. Because no matter how often we argue over things, and no matter what all of our problems are, deep down, we know that we belong together. And deep down, we know that we are one. Catholic means universal. It means worldwide. It means including a wide variety of people, but also people who have more in common than they have different. More in common in the ways that it really and truly matters. Our languages differ, our liturgies differ, some of our theology differs, but it's not all about us. It's about us brought together by that Lord, symbolized at the very top by that triangle and shining down on all of us.